Hey everyone. I think we're starting. Just making sure everything's coming through okay. This is the first live stream experiment, so bear with me here. Yes. So testing 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you're able to hear me. Hopefully you are. There we go. Official Dog Breezy, how's it going? It's going great. Can you hear me? We're a couple minutes. No, we're about 1 minute early, so just kind of hang out here. Hope you guys are doing well today. Hope your Saturday's going great. How's it going, Junior? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, so appreciate you guys. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Levi. Loud and clear. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you guys for joining me today. I guess the official time starts in about 1 minute or so, but I thought this would be kind of just a fun way we can talk about things ranging from Terry Silver to Cobra Kai to Karate Kid to tornadoes. I know some of you follow me for the tornado chasing stuff, to any of my other projects. But this is just kind of a fun time. I've got some ideas to talk about, but if you guys have questions or kind of topics you want to talk about, just let me know. This is super fun to be able to connect with you like this. Hey, great to see everyone from Newcastle. Thanks for saying hi. I'm in LA right now, and if you guys want to let me know kind of where in the world you're watching from, that's super cool that we've got people from around the world joining in here. That's a good question. How do you think Mike Barnes comes into the show? Let's talk about Mike Barnes. I might talk about him a little bit, then we'll circle back to Mike Barnes. I think Mike Barnes is a really interesting character. I think Sean Kanan does such a great job with that character, but I so wish that we knew more about him. And if he comes back to Cobra Kai, I have full confidence that we will know a lot more about him and there'll be a lot more depth to him. But that he's just so great at playing just a menacing character. And I think that's why he's so iconic. He's probably the most brutal bully that Daniel had. Chosen was pretty bad, but he had like some kind of code of ethics and honor about him. And Mike Barnes, he was just mean. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how he comes back into the show. It's about 2:01. I just want to welcome everyone here. It's great to have you here on a Saturday. This is super exciting. Just being able to talk about things we like. Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to try to do my best to talk to you and keep an eye on the comments. If I miss something, just repeat it or, try to, get my attention or something. I'll try to keep an eye on both. But it's great to have you here. I'm broadcasting from LA. I'm excited to learn about where you are. Australia, Hawaii. Oh, that's fantastic. Iowa. I just recently moved from Oklahoma, so not too far from Iowa. Great to have you. I see the storm cloud. Great. Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you appreciate the Terry Silver videos. And I want to talk about that. I'm kind of interested. How did you guys, if you like Terry Silver, how did you get to like Terry Silver? Because I find that a lot of people think that Karate Kid 3 is really overlooked. They don't think about Karate Kid 3 that much, and it makes sense. The first Karate Kid's a classic. But the third one, the second one was very popular as well. I remember when I was a kid, people were having the debate, which one do you like, 1 or 2? And then the third one came out, and I know not many of the people I knew, I was a young kid at the time, but a lot of people hadn't seen it. They didn't go to see the third one as much. And I remember the commercials for Karate Kid 3 on TV, where they kept on playing the clip of Thomas Ian Griffith go, well, you think you can rely on that crane crap? And they kept playing that in all the TV commercials. And I was like, what is this? And I wanted to see it, but I never did till it came out on video later. And I had watched the first Karate Kid actually after the second one. I had seen the second one like on the Disney Channel. I taped it and I watched it about 20 times before I even watched the first one. And I felt like the recap they do at the beginning of Karate Kid 2 was so good that I didn't really need to see the events of the first one to appreciate the second one. So I eventually saw the first one, and I just thought that was amazing. And then sometime after that, I rented the third one, and I saw it, and I thought it was all right, and I eventually got all three of them. I owned all three of them, and I kept watching the second one and the first one. But I don't know if anyone else is a movie fan and, over summer vacations or had a similar experience, but sometimes you go back and rewatch your favorite movies over and over again. And I found that I was maybe starting to watch the first Karate Kid and the second Karate Kid maybe too much. Like I didn't want to spoil them. I wanted to kind of keep them pristine. So I was like, I haven't seen Karate Kid 3 as much. Maybe I can get my Karate Kid fix by rewatching Karate Kid 3. And so I did. I started watching it and rewatching it. And, of course, there are some elements about it that are better than others. And I think that might be my next Karate Kid video. I might look deeply into Karate Kid 3 and kind of analyze it. But I think, there are things in it that are great. And one of those things I think is Terry Silver. And I think as I watched the movie over and over again, I really started to appreciate Terry Silver. And the fact that he was connected to John Kreese and that he was such a good villain, such a good antagonist for Daniel and Miyagi. And, it's one of those things that I wish there was more of that in the movie. I wish that we had more Terry Silver, or we knew more about him and John Kreese, or we, knew about what happened after Karate Kid 3. And, I had just assumed in the 90s that was it. It was over. And, it happens with so many movies and TV shows and, books or whatever. It's like, that's it. That's the last one. And that's fine. I'll go back and revisit that. And that's why when we got Cobra Kai and I saw what they did with that, I was just blown away. I knew it was coming. I don't know about any of you. I don't know if you had seen it right when it came out on YouTube Red, I think it was called at the time. But I made my wife, we subscribed to this YouTube Red, which no one had, just to see this. And I think I saw the first episode. No, I take that back. I went to the theater showing. That's where I saw where they had the showing of the Karate Kid and the first two episodes of Cobra Kai. Okay, correct myself. I don't know how. Did you guys all go to that? Kind of like they had showings in theaters, which, wow, man, I hope we get to go back to movie theaters at some point. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys went and saw this when they did the broadcast in theaters of the full Karate Kid movie and the first two episodes of Cobra Kai. And this was 2 weeks before it premiered. And so even when they did those first two episodes, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it. They had been so faithful to the Karate Kid series that I had loved growing up and seen a million times. And after we watched the first season, my wife, I love her, she watched it with me. And I immediately started in on Terry Silver. Oh my gosh, wouldn't this be amazing? This character that I never would have thought I could ever see again, we could see him again. And I knew that the creators the producers had done such a great job with it that they didn't. We'll talk about other franchises, other fan franchises that have late sequels. You might know a few that I'm talking about where maybe there are some entries in the series that aren't as well regarded. And going forward, they kind of pretend that those don't exist. And so I was kind of afraid that if they were doing Cobra Kai, they might just focus on Karate Kid 1, and just kind of leave the events of Karate Kid 3 out, like they didn't happen, or pretend they didn't happen. And so I think it was that scene in the committee when, Johnny was in there trying to convince them to let the Cobra Kai dojo back into the tournament that, and they said, what's your relationship with Terry Silver? And I I couldn't believe it. They were deliberately mentioning Terry Silver more than once. And that's when I got excited, because I knew as a storyteller, they were creating setup for Terry to come back. And they weren't completely disregarding, the events of Karate Kid 3, which I was so excited about. And, I know that for a time there was question whether Thomas Ian Griffith would come back, if they could get him back to play Terry again. I always thought that he might, because even though he hadn't acted in a while, and, he's gone on to be a writer, producer, and do all these things beyond acting, that if you start as an actor, and this is a guess, I haven't talked to him, I don't know him, but as an actor myself, or being on stage, if you love that, if that's something you do, it's something you love for life. And I knew that probably, even if he had gone on to other things, if someone came back and they offered him the right role and it was well written, that he probably would come back, And so I was very excited, and I don't know if we're supposed to know. I know that kind of Robert Mark came and did some interviews, and the cat's out of the bag, it sounds like, with Terry Silver returning and Thomas Ian Griffith returning for season 4 of Cobra Kai. But I am just so excited about that. And I just want to thank you all for watching all these videos, because, it really, basically my wife, kind of my friends, but basically my wife, because I live with her. I keep talking with her about, Cobra Kai, and if I get into Terry Silver, she immediately starts laughing, because she knows it's going to turn into like a half hour just me just talking at her about Terry Silver. And so I thought I should probably just make a video about Terry Silver, because I just think he's a great character. Anyway, so it's great. It's so great. I honestly didn't know what the reception would be. I'm glad that you guys watched it. I'm glad people watched it and agreed with it. That, I'm not the only person out there who's a fan of Terry Silver, and it's kind of fun to find like-minded people like yourselves on the web. So that's kind of how I got to this point of Terry Silver and Karate Kid. But it's kind of a fun time to be a Karate Kid fan. You can kind of use all this useless knowledge that you built up over repeat viewings throughout your childhood. Let's see. I'm sorry, I've been missing your comments. Let me try and read through a few. Nice, Detective. Okay, great. We have some other people that have saw the first 2 in the theater. That's fantastic. Chris says, I'm from PA. I saw Parfrey the first time on DVD as a teenager, and Terry was immediately my favorite part. Been loving your videos. Thank you guys so much. Great. I love it. That's the thing with Terry Silver, the quotes, like, "Let him up, punk. What are you, his mother?" Maybe. It's like, people who love Terry Silver, he just has so many great lines and great quotes that are just immediately identifiable to that character. And that's what just excites me so much. And I hope that continues as we continue to see him in Cobra Kai. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. You guys should follow Thomas Ian Griffith on Twitter, by the way. But I saw his wife basically said, there was kind of like a vague reference to the fact that he was not home for St. Patrick's Day, which means he's out working. And of course, we know that Cobra Kai is being filmed right now. So he's probably in Atlanta filming. And he actually posted a picture of him kind of in a green cap playing the piano for St. Patrick's Day. And you can see that he has this long hair. So man, we might get the ponytail return. So that's so exciting. Let's see. Would there be any videos of Terry and Kreese in the Army being done? Oh yeah. A lot of people have talked about this. I think it's fascinating during that whole time during when Kreese and Terry were in the Army, because we don't know what happens really after they get out of the POW camp. At this point, we don't know. We know that somehow John Kreese goes from, he beat his captain in that survival situation, but then he goes on to be U.S. Karate Championship for 3 years. And so we know that he gets very, very good. And then eventually we know that Terry also gets very good. And they established Cobra Kai. And I'm guessing that Cobra Kai went beyond just Terry Silver and John Kreese. I'm not sure. They're the only two we know about. But you get the sense that Cobra Kai is a dojo and a style that there might be other soldiers who are Cobra Kai members too. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. We just don't know how it started, but I think that whole period of time, probably in the early 70s in Vietnam, is going to be very interesting. And I don't know if we'll learn more about it in Cobra Kai or if there could be a spinoff. If Cobra Kai is so successful that there might be a spinoff of young John Kreese and young Terry Silver and the beginning of Cobra Kai. I am very curious to know if they go back and train with their the master in South Korea. I'm very excited to know about that because he could, again, and this is kind of why I want to stay away from doing too much speculation, because I know that the writers in the show have done a lot of backstory. They've probably charted out all these characters and given them things that have happened, in the 30, 35 years since the movies. So I don't know exactly what the plan is, but, it would be interesting. I don't know if they did go back and meet that South Korean master, if he's actually in a way, the big bad, the one who really gave them, I don't know what you want to call it, the core principles of Cobra Kai, and taught them in that style and just made them into champions and just brutal soldiers. And, I can imagine they're so proud of Cobra Kai probably because it was very effective in those war situations. And I just think that's very interesting. So I don't know what's in store, but I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see, are you going to be recording the new Storm Chasers this tornado season? Okay, and then so for all of you who are not who are not tornado fans but are more Cobra Kai and Karate Kid fans, I've also done all these storm chasing documentaries and series, with Reed Timmer. And that's also a question I get is, are we going to do a new season of Tornado Chasers? And the answer is right now, there are no plans to do another season of Tornado Chasers. Super proud of the show. And I think, if it worked, I would be there. Like if it worked with everyone's schedule, if the budget were there, I would love to do it. But I think a lot of stars would have to align. As far as I know, I think Reed's associated with a National Geographic show that might be coming out soon. I've talked with them a little bit, but I don't know. Who knows what the future holds? But I love that topic. I love storm chasing and Reed Timmer and all the way back. You guys should check out, if you're interested in tornadoes at all, Tornado Glory. That was my first PBS documentary I directed back in the mid-aughts. And that is on Amazon Prime right now, Prime Video, and also on YouTube on my channel. That's like the first documentary that followed kind of young people storm chasing. And then Heaven's Rage came out after that, and that was during the Discovery Storm Chasers time. And then after that, we did Tornado Chasers, which was 2 seasons, and watch that second season on Prime Video or on YouTube. That's like, I don't know, as far as that still impacts me emotionally to this day. It's just amazing, just the events that take place during that season. So thank you guys for watching that. Yes, unfortunately, we're not going to be doing that this year. Question: do you think the original actor playing Terry will return? Yes, I do. There were some interviews that Thomas Ian Griffith gave, or I'm sorry, Robert Mark Kamen, the writer of the Karate Kid movies, gave in promoting the new, I think it was Beyond Miyagi, the new documentary on Pat Morita. And during those interviews, he specifically said, and I don't know if he was supposed to say this, but I'm glad he did, just so we know, that Thomas Ian Griffith he's right now doing a fantastic job playing Terry in Cobra Kai. So he kind of let the cat out of the bag, and that's kind of cool because Robert Mark Kamen, it shows that he's aware of and in touch with the series and keeping tabs on what's going on with it. And so that's really great. Okay, let's see. Confirmed for the next 2 seasons. Yes, and he did say seasons 4 and 5, which means I'm sure that Netflix has told them, we're not going to officially renew you for season 5 right now, but we're going to. I mean, the numbers are there. We're going to do season 5. So I hope it goes beyond that. Let's see. Put up links to. Okay, yes, I'll definitely put up links in the description to this video where you can go watch the other tornado chasing stuff if you love tornadoes. I appreciate your work from Portugal, smallest country, Iberian Peninsula. Well, thank you. Thanks for watching from Portugal. This is kind of mind blowing. I'm really glad to know all you guys. Have you seen the Karate Kid reunion with Thomasin Griffith appearing? Yes, the one with Josh Gad, where he had everyone there. I watched that, and that was great. It was good to see him there, and it seemed like everyone was kind of being very careful, about what they said. He was there. I think he talked about his black belt, because he's actually, I think Sean Kanan also was a black belt, a martial artist as well. And I think Thomasin Griffith has 2 black belts, which is fantastic. And they both of those guys might actually be the genuine article as far as Karate Kid performers who knew martial arts, which might be why I think the Karate Kid 3 fight scenes are the best fight scenes in the 3 movies. Probably because you had real martial artists there. Let's see. Terry's the best Karate Kid villain next to Sensei Kreese. Yeah, I agree. I think just that whole mythos of Cobra Kai is just very interesting. And I think, I don't know whether it was by design or not, but Terry, Kreese is extremely intimidating. I think he knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He knows he can control these kids, and the power over these kids, especially in Karate Kid 1, he was just so menacing. And then you get to Karate Kid 3, and you see that it's beyond Kreese. And one of the most interesting things, and if I ever talked to Martin Kove about this, I would probably ask him, and maybe one of you guys, if you know him, can ask him. Just, it's a smaller role in Karate Kid 3, but he has more to do with Kreese. Like you get to see a vulnerability with John Kreese that you don't in the first one. In the first one, he's really menacing, but in the third one, you get to see all these shades of John Kreese that, I'd argue, if you look at the backstory in Cobra Kai season 3, where they're in Vietnam, a lot of the Kreese in Karate Kid 3 seems to inspire the young Kreese and what he's going through, and his vulnerabilities. So I think both of those guys together, it's great to have Terry. Also, if John Kreese is feeling vulnerable, it's great for Terry to be there to sail in and support him and be protection for him. They're a great dynamic duo. And so, do you think Kreese has PTSD? I think, I don't want to, from my own perspective, yes. I think that both John Kreese and Terry Silver are dealing with PTSD to some extent. I think that's kind of an undercurrent. And I think that's also an undercurrent of the Karate Kid movies. If you look back to Mr. Miyagi as well. I mean, Mr. Miyagi, John Kreese, Terry Silver, these are all veterans, that have basically had their lives destroyed in some way by war. We don't know what Mr. Miyagi went through exactly, but we do know that his wife and child were kept in a Japanese internment camp during World War II, and they died, and so just that whole war devastated his life, and the country's reaction to threats in war caused that pain to Mr. Miyagi, and he dealt with that very differently than John Kreese and Terry Silver. But I think John Kreese and Terry Silver, they seem to have directly suffered PTSD. It looks like, it just seems like, and we've seen it a little bit in season 3, it seems like they were put through very difficult situations, survival situations, and, Kreese had to kill his own captain, but I'm sure that that's not the end of the story. I'm sure more is to come. I'm sure they've gone through some more things. So I think that's a good point. I think that they have gone through PTSD. What's your favorite Terry Silver scene? Oh gosh, that's a tough one. I've looked through them quite a lot lately. I don't know. I love the scene where he's in Daniel's face after he's made his knuckles bleed. It's just a great I think that's a great moment for Terry Silver where he gets what he's always wanted. I really enjoy the scenes where Daniel and Terry are together. They're not long enough, I feel like, but even when Terry's being a fake friend to Daniel, because, at least as a kid while rewatching the movie, sometimes it's like, oh, what if things were different? Like, what if Terry Silver wasn't necessarily a bad guy? Like, what if Daniel legitimately wanted to go train with Terry Silver and he wasn't that bad? Would Terry Silver be kind of another cool mentor, or at least, well, obviously not beating Mr. Miyagi, but I thought that the way Thomas Ian Griffith played that was so interesting because he legitimately seemed like a good guy. And so I like those. I like those scenes too, where he's putting the con on Daniel and Miyagi. So do you think Kreese and Terry will get into an argument or conflict in season 4? Yeah, I think it's possible. Or this is just my guess. I have no knowledge, and again, I don't know if what else went on between them, between Karate Kid 3 and Cobra Kai. But there's a lot that's happened. Kreese mentioned that Terry offered him a job, but he was almost too ashamed to take it, because he felt like it was a handout. And so, you kind of wonder, is there this tension there between the two? Is John Kreese not happy sometimes being second fiddle in life to Terry? He was once Terry's captain. He saved Terry's life. All these things. Is there any kind of deep resentment coming from Kreese? Or is Kreese, another, you've probably seen my videos on Terry Silver. Definitely check them out. But in Terry's, what Terry Silver wants, I kind of make the case that Terry's doing everything because he wants to do it, and that he's in control of the situation. He craves control over everything. Well, another twist to that could be that John Kreese, when he goes to see Terry in Karate Kid 3, he was manipulating Terry. He knows, he understands what Terry needs and wants. And he knew that if he went to go see Terry Silver, and said that he was quitting, that Terry wouldn't have any of it. And that he could get help getting back on his feet, maybe a free trip somewhere with a massage and rejuvenation spa or something like that. He could get what he wants by playing a certain role to Terry. And he's okay. And he did that with Johnny, in season 2, where he played, oh, I'm pitiful. I'm the war vet. I don't have anything. Give me a second chance. Let me do it. And, he pretending to be kind of Johnny's friend. And he did care about Johnny, but obviously he wanted to run Cobra Kai again. John Kreese, he's pretty smart. He could have been doing the same thing to Terry. I don't know. Another thing is, John Kreese and Terry Silver probably had a lot of bonding moments. Maybe horrible moments in the war, but I'm sure that they've shared a lot of moments that a lot of other people haven't shared in life. And so there could be a bond there or an understanding, that other people wouldn't understand. But so the question is, will they get into an argument in season 4? They might, or there might be hints of tension. My sense is that if he hasn't seen Terry in a long time, then in season 4, if Terry comes back, John Kreese and Terry Silver will probably make a dynamic duo. And my guess is that they're going to be very effective, and it's going to be a dark season for Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang. And I think a lot of things could happen in many crafty ways, and there are probably going to be tricks. We might see Terry Silver for the first time, and it's possible John Kreese hasn't seen Terry Silver in a while, but I have a feeling that Terry Silver is still aware of everything that's been going on without everyone knowing about it. You have the Tom Cole, LaRusso auto dealing, with Doyona, and that's kind of shady. You kind of wonder if there's some other, puppet strings going on there. If Terry Silver's priming his entry back in where he's much more involved than we realize. So anyway, I think there could be a hint of tension between the two. There could be an argument. But my guess is they're going to be pretty effective together, and it's going to be a hard season for Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang. But then, if he's back for season 5, I'm wondering if you might start to see cracks form, or at least we get to see the cracks explored. They could still be great friends. They could still be on the same level. Their kind of control, kind of dynamic might go back and forth multiple times. They might not be friends. I don't know. It's with them. It's interesting. However the writers want to do it, they might not be friends anymore, or they could be great friends, or they could go down together in a blaze of glory. Kreese could be redeemed. Maybe Terry could be redeemed. It's one of the benefits of having a long form TV series. So that's really interesting. Thomas Ian Griffith's best non-Karate Kid role is Excessive Force. That is a fun movie. I would definitely recommend you guys check that out. I don't know what's going on with the rights to that movie, because I think it's only gotten a DVD release. I don't think it's gotten a Blu-ray release yet. But that is a fun movie. If you see it on DVD for cheap, or I don't know if you can stream it or not, but it was written by Thomas Ian Griffith, and I think he produced it. So he starred in it, wrote it, and produced it. And the main character's name is Terry. So I don't know if he's taking that as a nod to Karate Kid 3 and Terry Silver, but he plays a different kind of character. He's definitely the hero. You get to see a lot of his martial arts skills in that, and a lot of great actors in that. James Earl Jones, Lance Hendrickson. There are 2 more I'm forgetting. But I would definitely check that out if you're a fan of Thomas Ian Griffith and want to see an early 90s action movie. Excessive Force, really good, and I don't know why it hasn't gotten the attention it deserves. Do you think Terry will manipulate one of the younger characters like Miguel or Hawk? Yeah, you could go any way with Terry, but I'd have to imagine that Terry, one of the great things about him is just his manipulative ability. And so I would think that he would definitely, depending on what his persona is, I don't know if his persona will be immediately this karate master or this friend of John Kreese, or how he'll be reintroduced. He could come back in a tux. He could come back in a gi, but it'll be interesting to see how he manipulates people. And I think he could definitely manipulate Miguel or Hawk or Dimitri or Johnny, or because right now, of course, Johnny is having trouble with John Kreese, of course. And so it'd be interesting to see if Terry's the one who kind of flips Johnny back towards Kreese. That's possible. Terry could manipulate everyone. Terry could manipulate Sam. Terry could manipulate Amanda. Terry could try to manipulate Daniel again and gaslight him. It could go any direction. And so I'm really interested to see what his persona will be, and maybe he has a sob story. Maybe he apologizes. I don't know. It'd be very fun and interesting to write, I would think, because there's so many possibilities. Do you think Daniel will fight Terry Silver for the first time? Yeah, kind of like how John Kreese said to Daniel that it's inevitable that we'll fight. I think it's inevitable, at least the people who are making the show, I know they have got to be such fans of Terry Silver that they couldn't resist that now that Daniel is completely grown up, that they're definitely going to have a fight scene between Daniel and Terry Silver. And I would personally, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, I really think Chosen needs to be a much bigger character in the show. I would love him to come back and be a bigger presence in the show, because apparently he's teaching karate. He said he had students and he was teaching in Okinawa. So if he's still teaching martial arts, wouldn't it be amazing to have another Miyagi-Do teacher he's got a lot more experience teaching than Daniel does. And he understands the principles of Miyagi-Do and is probably a bit more advanced in some ways maybe a lot of ways than Daniel, as far as his martial arts. So I would love for Chosen to come back, and help. It would be very interesting. And I think I mentioned this in one of my videos. All the Karate Kid movies, the interesting thing about them is that they are, they're kind of separated. They're in their own columns. The characters don't recur that much. Even Daniel's mother doesn't recur really. She comes back for a cameo in part 3, but and it's basically Daniel and Miyagi, and Kreese comes back, but that's it. I mean, you're going to Okinawa for part 2, and you've got a whole new cast of characters, and then none of those characters really come back for part 3, and so it's a really interesting series because you have all these characters you can choose from, but you can bring them into the same world. And I just think that's one of the most exciting things is, what would Chosen, how would Chosen and Johnny get along? How would Chosen and Terry Silver get along? How would Chosen and John Kreese get along? Because Chosen, I mean, Daniel's obviously been taught by Miyagi and he's kept up his martial arts. Chosen could be, a master of Miyagi-Do. He could be the remaining master of Miyagi-Do. And what happens when Chosen comes back to face Kreese? And we saw a little bit of it when Chosen taught Daniel that one technique, and Daniel was able to disable Kreese. So it was, I think that would be fantastic. And then, of course, all the other characters as well. We've had Kumiko come back. It'd be interesting if Robin Lively comes back as Jessica. It was kind of an interesting role because she didn't feel like she was fully in the movie. She was there as a friend for Daniel, but then kind of left. It was platonic. It wasn't a romantic relationship. But did they keep in touch? Did they stay friends? What is she up to nowadays? I think, what was it, Columbus, Ohio that she moved to. So did she come back to LA? Who knows? But let's see. I don't know if you guys have any more questions. Do you think Terry will be working to take control of Cobra Kai sneakily? Well, if you've seen my previous videos, you know that I think Terry craves control and he needs to be in control. That seems to be part of his character. And, depending on the situation, you might see that more prominently. Like in Vietnam, it's not so much you see him needing to be in control all the time, but you see him having a lot of trouble emotionally when he's not in control. He has emotional outbursts. He panics. He's not on top of things. So in Karate Kid 3, he's become very wealthy. He's basically the master of his domain. He's almost untouchable. And then you really see his tendencies to require control and to buy for control and to muscle for control in every situation. You really see those things come out. So I don't know what's happened to the character since Karate Kid 3. That will be interesting. But I think that's a core part of his character. And so if he's still rich, if he's still muscling for control, I think that would still happen with Cobra Kai. I think that in his brain, he thinks he'll never say it because he loves John Kreese to death. It's just, I'm sure that's as close a thing to a brother as he could have. And he'll never say it out loud, but I think he thinks of himself as better, smarter than John Kreese, more successful than John Kreese. And I think he thinks of himself as, better in martial arts, a better Cobra Kai martial artist than John Kreese. And I don't know. That's one of those things where you wonder, did Terry Silver maybe, even after the war's over, go back to study with the master in South Korea when John Kreese didn't? Maybe John Kreese called it quits and he was already a champion, but didn't really continue studying the style. And maybe Terry was rich enough where he would, every weekend fly to South Korea and keep studying to become, a master martial artist, although obviously not as good as Miyagi. So I think that I think Terry Silver thinks that he would do a better job, and with Cobra Kai probably. And, like his whole franchise, like wanting 20 locations of Cobra Kai all over the valley. Like that's something that Kreese just couldn't do, but that's something that Terry Silver, could do. And so I think he would want to control it or take it in new directions or And maybe that's a source of conflict because maybe Kreese wants control or he sees that as his. I don't know. We'll have to find out. That'll be kind of fun to watch. What do you think might have happened to Mike Barnes after Karate Kid 3? Kreese nearly killed Johnny for only losing one tournament. Mike Barnes cost them money and business. Yeah, this is interesting because I know people have asked for a video on Mike Barnes. People kind of assume that Mike Barnes and Terry Silver would team up again, because that's what they did in Karate Kid 3. But, if you think about it, look, for instance, Terry Silver, look at how he treats employees that don't do what he wants. That even suggests that they can't do what he wants them to do. Whether it's the guy, who didn't want to dump the toxic waste on the phone, and he basically screams at him and says, do it, and call me when it's done. If Margaret had problems with him bribing the grand jury, Terry basically said, lighten up, Margaret. I think that's one of my favorite lines, just lighten up. He wants everything his way. And so the fact that Mike Barnes basically failed, especially, I'm sure Terry was like, oh my gosh, I was telling him to just get the point. And he probably was, I'm guessing, supremely disappointed in Mike Barnes that he lost that. And that it sounds like cost them, the whole franchise of Cobra Kai dojos. And, he lost to Daniel. His whole revenge scheme fell because Mike Barnes was distracted by Daniel doing a kata, and so I can't imagine someone like Terry Silver would be very happy about that. So I'm guessing, I don't know. It's what could he do? He could do a lot of things, but it sounds like Mike Barnes, and this would be kind of an interesting video. We could kind of get into it, but who is Mike Barnes? Like what kind of kid, under 18 kid would be able to drop everything during the school year and go live in Los Angeles and just train to beat some kid in karate? What kind of kid is this? Or what kind of home does he come from? I'm guessing the money was a big thing. Did he come from a low income, home or the parents were like, hey, you're going to go make some money, So is that, what is Mike Barnes's background where he's okay with being so vicious, but also he's just able to pick up and go live with this strange guy in Los Angeles to train for a karate tournament. So, I'm sure Terry didn't really look favoringly, I'm sure he didn't really respect Mike Barnes anyway. I'm sure he saw Mike Barnes as really beneath him. And you can kind of see that in the scene where he's there with Miyagi, and then Terry says, "What are you waiting for?" To Mike Barnes, "Come on, you idiot, attack Miyagi." So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happened with Mike Barnes. So long story short, I don't think it's prudent to assume that Terry Silver and Mike Barnes will be friends if Mike Barnes comes back. Could be wrong. I don't know what happened, but that's just my guess. Chosen would be great at teaching Robbie. Yeah, I think so. I think Chosen would be amazing. I think Chosen should be a regular on the show. I'd love to see Terry and send Snake and Dennis to threaten Daniel at the dealership, and Louie and Anushka have to try to fight them. That would be so hilarious. Yeah, and what happened to Snake and Dennis? I don't know. They're kind of hired thugs. Someone commented once that Snake, he thought Snake was Terry's son, and I read that somewhere too. The original version, Snake was the son of Terry Silver, but I don't know if that's the case in the final movie, because I don't know. To me, it doesn't quite look like Terry could be old enough to be Snake's son, but to be Snake's father. Yeah, that would be great to see Snake and Dennis back. I don't know what happened to them. That would be funny. It's weird how Terry was such a skinny kid in the war and then became this cocky, buff, rich martial arts master. Yeah, it is. And, I think one of the commenters said, kind of based on this need for control, well, what do you do? If you feel like you've been powerless, and you need to have control, you can't let anything happen you're not in control of. then you'll do everything you can to have control over every situation. And so it looks like after the war, in every way, Terry built these walls up where nothing could touch him. You know, he became rich. He became super great at martial arts. And, you know, he was doing illegal things that the cops couldn't get him for. I mean, so he was really, truly in control. And so it could be way overcompensation for the fact that he did not have control back in the war. I don't know, speculation. I think Tom Cole's related to the prosecutor Terry Silver used to drive. Yes, Willie Cole. The same last name, Cole. I bet Terry knows Tom Cole somehow. Yes. Yes, I brought this up in a couple of my videos because my name's Ken Cole. I'm definitely not related to the corrupt Coles. But I think Willie Cole could very well be related to Tom Cole. And the second I saw Tom Cole, just because it's not an everyday name, you know, and I have the name, and I just thought that had to be very intentional, that it was this very obscure reference in Karate Kid 3. But the fact that he's the rival of Daniel, I thought was very interesting, because it's almost setting up this idea that Terry will come back and be in league with Tom Cole somehow, which I think is so interesting, because Terry can basically make Daniel's life hell from every angle. He could ruin Daniel, ruin him professionally. He could, you know, destroy his dojo, the confidence his students have in him. You know, it's just from every angle. I think the Tom Cole association would just make peril worse for Daniel. Let's see. I think Tom Cole's related to the prosecutor. Yeah, we saw that. Finish line. Hey, I like that. I like that, Johnny. I'm going to use that. I don't think I could try to do the evil laugh. I'll probably blow out the microphone, but maybe another day. Let's see. Do you think that Terry's first lines will be, "Hey, Danny boy," and then Daniel will have a flashback? It could be. Yeah, that would be something. I don't know. You could just see Terry come back in so many different ways, which is just, you know, it's so much fun. You know, one line, I have a request. If we have anyone from the show watching, I don't know, but I would love to see Terry Silver say, "Danny, Danny, Danny." You know, I love that. Anyway, I love it when he does that. Anyway, hope Terry Silver will say till Daniel, do the crane, Danny boy. Yep, that's great. Is Terry's daughter the one who fought Daniel's daughter? She has a temper like Terry. So that's definitely a theory that Tori is Terry Silver's daughter. And I will say Tori does, probably of any of the younger characters on Cobra Kai, Tori does resemble Terry Silver. Because when she gets bad, she's very bad. She's very evil, and brutal, and she gets angry. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that's a guess. We'll see if that's true. I'm not so sure that Terry is the father of Tori. We'll see. I don't know. It's interesting. I kind of made a joke about that in my last video, but you could almost say that Terry Silver's the father of everyone on the show if you want, which would mess things up. I'm sure Terry would like that because he'd be in control. Let's see. Do you think Chosen is stronger than Mike Barnes? Well, I think in their heyday, absolutely. I mean, Chosen, man, that guy was stacked. He was ripped, and he was also really good. And I think, though, I don't know what's happened with Mike Barnes. Mike Barnes could have continued to study and become a master himself. I'm thinking nowadays, if you're talking about physical strength, probably Mike Barnes, just because I guess they'd be about the same age. Maybe he chose to be a little older. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll have to see if we see Mike Barnes again. Just has he kept up with the karate, and you know, is he pretty buff? But, you know, since we are dealing with karate, and it's not always about physical strength, of course, it could also be about your mind and how focused you are, and how good you are just mentally in defense. I don't know. I used to take karate. I don't know if you guys took karate, but I took karate for about 4 or 5 years. I think I just about got to brown belt, and it's great. I really recommend that. But as you know, if you've taken karate, it's not necessarily about how strong you are, how big you are. In fact, sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes you really can use someone's own strength against them, and that's part of the wonder of martial arts. Do you think Terry Silver's been keeping tabs on Daniel since Karate Kid 3? He seems the type to keep tabs on his enemies. I think so. I don't know. In my last video, I think it was my last video, I talked about what happened after Karate Kid 3, because right before the tournament in 1985, the Karate Kid 3 tournament, Terry Silver purchased and donated the permanent home of the All Valley Championships. And that's why everyone loved him so much when he came to speak, because he made this huge donation. And then we learn in Cobra Kai that Terry Silver, along with the other guys, were banned, and Cobra Kai was banned from the All Valley tournament. That's not something you typically do to someone who's just donated so much to you. Especially with Terry, because Terry, I'm sure if there was news of a ban at some regional tournament, he could easily just go and pay everyone off. So how did they get the ban? And the only thing I can think of is that Terry probably, after he lost, he probably just withdrew the donation and just forgot about him because it wasn't even worth his time. I'm sure he was just disgusted and would rather not deal with them anymore. That's my guess. And so if that's the case, Terry might have just decided to move on, because I'm sure he wasn't very happy that he failed. Because if he wants control over everything, then I'm sure he wants to not be associated with situations where he didn't win or he didn't have control. So it's possible that he took a break, and did other things after that. Who knows? But I agree with you. I think Terry Silver is the type of person that would keep tabs on everyone. And maybe it's this brumation thing that Kreese brought up, where Terry just decided, something? When the time is right, I'll get revenge. Because he did vow that to Miyagi. So maybe he's been planning this for a long time, and maybe he's been keeping tabs on everyone, and he's waiting for just the right moment to exact revenge on everyone. So I think that's a really good idea. I made up a scenario where in season 4, Daniel in his dealership in his office, when Terry says, "Danny, Danny, Danny," then Daniel looks at him like, "Oh my God!" Then a fight breaks out between Danny. Yes, that would be great. I think, to me, the thing I'm looking forward to most is I want to see that moment. I want to see the moment and the look on Daniel's face when Terry returns. And how is he going to return? Is he going to return in the dealership? Is he going to return at a karate dojo? Is he going to return on the street? Is Terry going to reveal himself to Amanda before Daniel, and Amanda maybe not knowing who he is? Is Terry going to show up in his ponytail and in a tux at the country club and kind of just turn around? I don't know. It's going to be so much fun to see how Terry reveals himself to Daniel again, and to see the look on Daniel's face. I think that would be, I don't know. We could see a look of terror on Daniel's face, but anyway. So anyway, guys, gosh, we've been talking a while. This is great. So yes, definitely. I will put in links for the tornado stuff. If you're interested in storm chasing, I'll put links in the description for that. I'll be having more Karate Kid content coming out, Cobra Kai content coming out. I'm going to have some tornado content. If you've ever wanted to learn how to shoot cinematic tornado footage, I'm going to be doing that soon. I'm going to be doing kind of a series of videos on how to shoot cinematic tornado video. So if you're interested in that, or you're a storm chaser, definitely look for that coming up. But I'll also be doing Karate Kid videos and Cobra Kai videos. If you have requests, let me know. I have some ideas of things I'd like to do going forward. But if you have requests, let me know. Also, you will also be seeing on my channel things regarding my films. So I've got 2 films that I have a short film called Bigfoot and Me, which is going to be premiering in Moscow pretty in April, which is exciting. It's also going to be playing in Houston and Austin, and we'll have more news about that. I'll put a link to the trailer in the description. So anyway, guys, I really hope everything's going well with you. I've got a new movie, IT Supremacy, that's just premiered on Prime Video. So definitely check that out. I'll have more content on that. And I'd say let's call it for today. And if you enjoyed it, we'll do another live stream like this at some point too, and we can talk about all kinds of other things. I've got lots of stuff I didn't even get to today, but it's just been so great talking about this with you guys. And I hope you have a good rest of the Saturday. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Please share all my stuff, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.